And the nutrition for
Okay, so can you see the screen all right?
Yeah, yes, yes.
yeah.
Okay, wonderful. Then let's start the delicious session about the good food that is going to make us happy and healthy. And you remember my idea that happy and healthy together, that's our vitality, right? Okay, so let's remind ourselves that we are not doing anything medical here, right? It's only education, information, inspiration. And now, after all this technical chaos, let's arrive here and now and take 3 breaths and set the intention and arrive in the body, in the mind, in the present moment. I hope your intentions are to make your life easier in the nutritional science. Today we're going to uncomplicate and make it easy, and also show ourselves the exciting research opportunities, you know, where we can go and make it complicated again, but our own way. So not because somebody told you something, right? Okay. So this is what I planned for today, is to talk to you about how to enjoy more and worry less. And also I will share the vitality nutritional principles and different upgrade ideas of how to have something good and make it better, right? So this is the idea for today, something more universal. We will touch upon how to make it more by individual and personalized. But today, most of the time we will spend on universally human nutrition. So first of all, I want to inspire you that it doesn't matter if you have any diagnosis or you have something that you don't like, you know, energy level or your weight or, you know, whatever, you can change it. Because as long as you're alive, you're constantly detoxifying, you're constantly building and rebuilding. So when you give yourself the great building material, you already have all the wisdom, you know, all their blueprint to be the best you, and nutrition will help you. So in the same line, I want to remind you that now we're living the age of epigenetics. You know, before it was all about genetics, and we thought that we get from our parents like a photograph, right? They're, you know, something that we inherited and we cannot change. So we were prisoners of our DNA, our genes. Now we know that we can make big changes. So we can touch some genes and make them express if they're beautiful and healthy, and we don't touch something that makes us weak and sick. So we do not do some lifestyle choices that activate something that not desirable. So we can play games with our own genes, and instead of the photo, we have a moving picture, a film, a movie, right? So epigenetics is all about expressing what you would like to express. And bees give us a wonderful example how nutrition can change how long you live and how strong you are. So originally, the larva of the worker bee and the queen bee is absolutely the same. So it's same DNA. But if you start to feed the future princess and the queen royal jelly, that this queen will live 2 years or even more. If you feed the same larva workers jelly, they will just live 1 month. So this is the power of nutrition. So that's why I said, if you want to be vital, like a strong bee who produces thousands and thousands of bees, you know, it has to be very strong, right? So you need to eat like a queen or like a king. It's all in your power. And now we live in the information age, right? So we are flooded with so much information, and everybody is saying something opposite. So it can be overwhelming, can be confusing. So today we will unconfuse ourselves. And so you will create the navigation, and you know, you will look at this information and decide if it works for you or not. So I hope that by the end of their presentation, you know, you will not be like this guy who is very confused. So what is Vitality Nutrition? We already kind of touched upon that, but now we will really talk about it. All my 20 years of research brought me to two words: eat food. So I separate everything edible into really edible, what I call real food, and conditionally edible, something that will not kill you right away, what I call the industrialized product. So today we will talk about how to understand what is the difference between food and the product. And that's it. You know, just eat food. Two words. Okay, so we made it very simple. Now let's complicate a little bit. First of all, this is my favorite diet. You know, cutting the crap out. And this I'm not going to talk too much about, but you will receive the slides in the resources. So you will learn how to navigate their marketing language, like how companies are trying to deceive you and sell you something that is not real food. And so don't worry about reading it now, you can read it later. But this is your dictionary, like a glossary of marketing tricks. Okay, so one of the thing is, you know, that illustrates beautifully the difference between food and the product is the battle between butter and margarine. So if you are making butter, you just allow cow to walk around, come back home, you get the milk, you know, separate their fatty part, churn it until it's solid and finish. One ingredient, one step. And if you want to be scientific and you want to eat plant-based diet and you want to sound super cool, you go through all this, you know, steps and processes, and then something smells bad, then you need to put something that doesn't make it smell bad, and then it looks gray. Okay, let's put some color so it doesn't look so horrible. So that is the difference between real food and product. And in the end of the day, now most people know that margarine is horrible for you and butter is good for you. Some people are still left behind in their old days, but I think it's minority now. So this is, I use as a good example. Okay, if you look beyond the name and look how it was produced, then you can go level number 2, what is food and what is product. So when cow chooses what to eat, it has the sun to produce vitamin D. It has their live bacteria on the live grass or hay when grass is not available. Then you will get wonderful food. If you put animals in prisons and you torture them and you feed them something that is product already, you know, like scientifically designed crap, then guess what? On the outcome, that the output will also be low quality, and you know, you will have all this suffering on your shoulders, and you know, very deficient food on your plate. So that is kind of a deeper look at what is food and what is product. Yeah. So when we shop, we have this choice, how deep we want to look. Just, name of food or product, or, look at the story. Another thing to consider is that it's not about having something good and have a lot of it, and not about something bad and never have it. Because sometimes what we call poison can be medicine in small amount, or something that we call food, can be poison in the amount that is too big, right? So be aware that the portion and how often you eat something can turn food into medicine and can turn medicine into poison. So that is the duality, that everything has both something good and something bad. And traditionally, all cultures develop different methods of how to get toxicity down and nutrition up. When we zoom in into these processes in our superfood presentation, which is not today, we will talk more about all these traditional techniques and modern techniques. But this is just an example that nobody in savannah could eat cassava. And humans came up with a method of how to detoxify all these dangerous poisons, that originally were in cassava root. And they were the only species of animals that could actually eat cassava. So we created this great advantage for ourselves. So there are, a lot of different things like fermentation and drying and pounding and, all sorts of stuff. Okay. So one of the things to make food safe is fermentation. I hope we will devote much more time to that, because it's a wonderful topic, and I would like you to have recipes. Today we'll just kind of mention some of the ideas behind it. Okay, so since we're talking about the basis of nutrition, I think it makes sense to talk about different groups of nutrients, so that you are not confused when you are talking to some scientists or you're reading some papers. So what are the nutrients? We have 3 things that we burn for energy. So 1 is carbohydrate, 2 is protein, and 3 is fat. Usually proteins are the least efficient things to burn, so we usually burn it last, and carbohydrates usually burn the fastest, and they are the most toxic if they are in high concentration. So that would be burnt and getting rid of faster. And then the fats are their slowest and most sustainable, like more solid types of calories of energy. So that is their big guys, that we burn and we get energy from. Everything else belongs to the micronutrients. So what are the micronutrients? Well, everything that is not carb, protein, and fat, right? So all our vitamins, minerals, cofactors, enzymes, like, everything else would be in the micronutrient group. And of course, for life, we need to nourish ourselves with water. We need to nourish ourselves with air, not just oxygen. Oxygen just one of the gases that we need, but just to simplify it. So we need all this nutrition. And since we talk about nutrients, I want to touch on the opposite, the anti-nutrients. So anti-nutrient is a substance that not only doesn't give you something, it actually takes away, because maybe it's so toxic that you need to use resources that you already digested, and you need to use them up to detoxify it, or maybe it prevents you from digesting other things. So there are a lot of things that stop your digestion, and so most of the products contain these anti-nutrients, but some foods as well. So one of the foods that is considered an anti-nutrient source is soybean that is not fermented. So when you drink soy milk, when you eat tofu that is not fermented, you know, you can actually, you will get some nutrition out of it, but you will get a lot of anti-nutrients as well. So, you know, this is one of the examples that when you ferment soy, then you get all these toxic things down and you will open up nutrition. So this is one of the things that, you know, we talk about, that in traditional societies, nobody ate big amounts of soy ever, in Asia included. You know, now people say, oh, Asians always ate soy. Like, no, Asians used unfermented soy only for the cover crops and, you know, fertilizer. When, you know, people developed the tempeh and natto and soy sauce and, you know, all these fermented things, then it became more important source of nutrition. Another thing to keep in mind is that we need minerals in a certain form. We cannot just go out and spoon the earth and get our minerals from the soil, right? Because most of the minerals there will be in their inorganic form. Even for plants, it's very difficult to get them. So plants usually create community around their roots, you know, to convert all these things so they can get it up in their bodies. And then, you know, we consume these plants that already converted inorganic minerals into the form that we can digest. And same with animals. So when we consume animals and plants, you know, we consume minerals in the form that our body is familiar with and knows how to use. And I think I already mentioned it, but I find it fascinating that our blood is so close to the blood of the plants, the chlorophyll. So they have the same formula, just the center element is different. So if you just take magnesium and, you know, substitute for iron, you will get a perfectly good human blood that is a red color, right? The hemoglobin. And the ocean is very close to the formula of our plasma and of our blood as well. So what is flowing around there is not like the river. You know, inside of us we have the ocean, right, with a lot of salt. So it's, I think, is wonderful to see how connected we are to the plants and to the ocean, to the whole Mother Earth. And we, just like plants, require all the minerals and all the salts that are there. So if we have monocropping with only 3 minerals that are put in the soil, because these 3 minerals are enough to make the plants look big and beautiful and productive, right? So we create very deficient food for ourselves and we miss out. So this is kind of an illustration why it's important to support regenerative agriculture and get food from rich soils. Okay, now I want to go into different nutrition tips and tricks. So one of the things is what we can do if we do not have ideal food, or, you know, we have so many stresses that we would like to upgrade it, is to create the superfood. So the more micronutrients per macronutrients we have, the more super our food is, right? So more micronutrients per calorie. How can we do that? Again, you know, we already mentioned it in the overview of the vitality pillars, is that we can concentrate the minerals by juicing, because we separate the fiber. That's number 1. Number 2, we ferment. When we ferment, it opens up nutrition and makes it much more bioavailable. And fermentation also creates some nutrients that were not there, plus probiotics. And the third option is sprouting. When we get the anti-nutrients out in the water when we soak, and we again open up their enzyme activities, we kind of trigger the start of their life cycle, and all activate all their processes. Okay, so another way to upgrade your food to superfood is to create different mixes. So I love a smoothie for this purpose, because you can mix in anything that you like. Oh, there is some kind of powder of superfood that you don't know how to use it, like how to cook with it, what to do. You just add it to smoothie and it's there, right? So other than smoothie, you can create a lot of savory and sweet things that your imagination can go wild. We will go through recipes when we talk more about the superfood options, but these are the ideas. You can create soups, you can create green pestos, you can create mixes of nuts and seeds and do their energy ball with a lot of magic dust of super powders and medicinal herbs and spices. So this is just for inspiration, right? Super important thing for nutrition. I sometimes call it my rule number 2 right after eat food, is to be on the choo-choo train, like chew. Chewing creates the parasympathetic mode when you relax and can digest. It creates their saliva and awareness of what is coming. You trigger the production of all the digestive juices and hydrochloric acid in the stomach. And so it's super important. It puts you in the right mode, and it also does something that cannot be done anywhere else, because teeth are only in our mouth. If you jump this step, you will never digest it well, because big chunks will have very low surface space, right? So you will not be able to touch it with all the digestive juices in the stomach or in the small intestine. And one of their very simple rules that many people laugh when I mention is eat when you're hungry, and when you're not hungry, stop. It doesn't matter if you want to gain weight, or you want to lose weight, or you want to maintain weight, or you just want to follow the best physiological rhythm to digest it the best. Just listen to yourself, because your body will tell you when it's good time and how much to eat. Just need to trust yourself more. So this is a good moment to explain the difference between their so-called real hunger, or they call it physiological hunger, and the emotional appetite. We all are emotional beings, and emotional eating is a wonderful thing until it goes to the extreme, and it becomes like a compensating tool for something else, right? So emotional eating is not a bad word. We are all emotional eaters, and it makes our life wonderful. Remember, not just healthy, but healthy and happy. So please do not force yourself to eat something that is not tasty and you're not excited about. But also remember that we all sometimes use food as a substitute for love, or for safety, or for boredom, or when you're sad or something. So ask yourself, are you really hungry, or you're eating just because everybody else eats, or because of some other reason? So give yourself a moment, take a breath, drink some water, and listen to your body and mind. If you are really hungry, eat. Another principle that is, again, one of my favorite, I guess I have a lot of favorites, is variety, the full range. So in some communities where I teach nutrition, they call me the rainbow girl, because I keep rainbow everything. Full range, full spectrum. You need to eat the full sun. And there is a good scientific reason behind it. So we need to understand that every color hides a secret, right? So every color has a medicinal quality that others don't have, like other colors cannot give you. And you can dig into it and study, or you can just forget about studying and enjoy the whole rainbow. Just throw it in, your body will know what to do, as long as not Skittles. Yeah, I'm not talking about the colored additives. I'm talking about the rainbow food. And also I mentioned here the taste, the aromas, and when I say kingdoms, it means unless you're a dedicated vegan, it's nice to give yourself variety. So eat something from kingdom of fungi, eat something from their plant kingdom, from animal kingdom. So you get your microbes, you get the soil organism, you get the full spectrum of what your body knows and likes and needs to be happy and healthy. Another way to upgrade your food to superfood and also save money is to learn what grows for free around your area, and forage with somebody who knows what they're doing, so you don't poison yourself, and that you're not harvesting something in radioactive dump site, right? So safety first, but wild foods are so much more concentrated. Like their wild berry or the wild leaf that has to survive creates so much power, so much medicine, so much nutrition that our domestic species just wish they had. So every time you add something wild, you're really upgrading your nutrition to the superfood. And there are a lot of ideas, and I will talk more about them, but this is something that I don't want to spend too much time, because you are going to receive it in your resources as their PowerPoint presentation, so you will have the slides. And I invite you to just look at them one by one and kind of meditate and see what speaks to you, and see what you would like to take into your life, right? So there are a lot of vitality ideas that I put there, but take whatever speaks to you. So this is the second slide of all these vitality ideas. Again, I'm not going to talk about all of them, because I can spend the whole presentation on every second, if not every first one. Another thing that I want to invite you to do is to observe what makes you feel good, right? What are the ratios between how much raw food and how much cooked food? How much fresh and water dense food versus dense and like calorically rich foods? So like see different things that you eat and how it makes you feel. For me, I discovered that the principle of 80-20 works. But there are people who have constitution and metabolic type that they need to eat mostly cooked and less raw. Otherwise, they feel bloated and they feel cold and kind of like damp, and they don't feel so well on raw food. So for them, it can be the reverse. They maybe will need to eat 80% cooked and only 20% raw. So this is the idea of how to make it personal and by individual. Again, today's talk is not about that. This is a much deeper dive, and we will do it later on in our course. But I just want to throw this idea, so you start observing of who you are and what makes you feel good nutritionally. So again, this is to go together with what I just said, that don't try to follow somebody else's rules. Listen to yourself, and when you cannot have something that you think is ideal, just relax and go for what better choice you have. Yeah. So for me, it's very important is the energy. You are doing something not because you're afraid to be sick, or you're afraid to be fat, or you have fear of something. You just respect yourself and you love yourself, and this is the energy shift, the paradigm shift, like why you're eating well. Yeah, so that again is a reminder. You guys are there already, so you understand the value of local and seasonal and organic, and something that you grow yourself, how much pleasure you get from the food that is grown here. Okay, let me see if I can play this. No, I cannot. For some reason, when I try it. Actually, let me see if I go into a different mode, and then I can play. Because this is the video that I tried to play earlier in the Vitality. Okay, let's see if this will work. Is it visible on the screen?
Is treated with pesticides. That's not so healthy for the environment, but does it really?
No.
Sorry,
No, not visible.
Meet the Palmbo family. They don't eat
I
organic.
think you need to change to the share screen mode. I think now I think you can like turn off share screen, and then
let me try, because I really want to see how I can do that. Screen share. No.
So everything in the kitchen is replaced, and they begin eating only organic.
Okay. Can you see the screen now?
no, you turn off the
No, you cannot.
screen.
Okay, so
sharing.
let me do it again.
Okay, it's back.
It's back.
Yeah, it's
okay.
back.
Okay.
The
So
slide.
I guess that the little video I will just post in the resources, because it's really inspiring, about their testing before and after the family went on organic diet. Okay, so back to the idea of how to buy food is that is also a reminder that you want to have something that is fresh, unless it's a grain or something that you can just store for a long time. And we just celebrated their World Soil Day yesterday, so I would like to congratulate you and invite to be mindful how important it is to create healthy soil and to eat food grown on healthy soil. Another important point in Vitality Nutrition is to be aware of what makes you feel dependent. Yeah. So some people say, oh, if I don't have my morning coffee, I have a headache. Well, guess what? If you drink coffee because it's pleasure is one thing. But if you need it as a medication for a headache, you're an addict. And you actually need to go off coffee for at least a week or two and detoxify it and get it out of your system to reset all your buttons, right? So, and it's not only for coffee, some people have it with gluten, some people have it with sugar, so whatever you feel that you cannot live without, that's exactly the thing that you need to live without, at least temporarily. Yeah, so this is also part of the Vitality Nutrition. So be mindful and observe yourself. Okay, another thing is also based on what we talked before, their energy. Are you doing things out of love or out of fear? So when you say no to yourself, no to a certain food, it's actually violence. And you have this inner child that will try to find a way to get to yes, find some excuses or find some reasons. So instead of saying no to yourself, take yourself on adventure, you know, do something cool and wild and new and fancy. And your stomach has a certain capacity. And also, you know, the time, right? So it's not unlimited during the day. So when you dedicate to doing something amazing and new, you will just phase out things that are not the best for you naturally, without creating this stress and violence and acidity and like all the bad stuff. So please think about creating, not fighting the old. And that already we talk about. I just want to throw in that it's not just about food. You know, when we talk about the full spectrum, it's full spectrum of everything in life. Another thing is that in natural life, we have waves and pulses and cycles. Some of them are seasonal, some of them are just what we want and what we don't want. So same with supplements or with foods, you know, don't force yourself to do something all the time just because it's good for you. You know, take it naturally, and you know, it's okay not to eat kale every day. And the reason we already, again, you know, talk about it a little bit, but I just want to remind you that normally the best time to eat is from 12 o'clock, which is noon, until 8 o'clock p.m., you know, in the evening. But you also need to observe when you are hungry and go with that. But this is kind of a general rule of nutrition, you know, because in many traditions they talk about their afternoon being the strongest. Like in Ayurveda, they talk about your digestive fire, Agni, being the strongest around like 12 to 1 o'clock. So many people notice that they digest lunch if they don't throw a lot of processed foods and fried foods and like vegetable oils and like all this junk in, then the lunch is digested very well. And because we naturally, you know, have this peak of activity and digestion there. And then during the evening and night, we build our body. And in the morning, we flush out, and, you know, every cell is kind of pooping into your blood and lymph. And then all the sewage systems clean you out if you drink enough water in the morning. So, you know, just be mindful of their cycles. This again, I just threw in, you know, because I really like this Dr. Mercolar's idea of how to be healthy and live a long, vital life. You will have a chance to look through it. We're not going to spend much time there. And, you know, again, this is the concept of what is universal and what is personal and individual, not just about food. I just, again, want to plant this seed in you that there are some things that, you know, are good universally for everybody, and there are some things that you need to create the personalized balance and ratios for yourself. Another thing to be mindful about is that the food, the nourishment, is not just substances that you can like hold in your hand. Like, you know, for example, right now I am in the beautiful sustainable agriculture fair, and you know, I have all these wonderful things that you know, full of minerals and vitamins and enzymes, but they also feed my other levels of being, because I looked in the eyes of the farmers who sold it to me, and they gave to me the food and their love, and they're excited to tell me all the stories of this food. So intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, I am also getting nourished from all these things. There are even worms that, you know, the silkworms here, and you know, all sorts of medicinal herbs, like this is the sapan wood that is going to make my blood stronger. Yeah. So there are these beautiful baby carrots. So all of them have different layers of nutrition, right? So it's not just carbohydrates or minerals. You know, we nourish ourselves on a lot of levels. And so each food can bring the energy down or up. So get more vitality or less. So, you know, industrial foods usually kill our vitality. And so be aware of that when you shop. And so in the end, I want to remind you that the most important thing is just do not stress out too much about your nutrition, and just have it as a part of your health and happiness of your being, you know, and really respect your wishes, your needs. Then it will be easy to respect people in your family, in your community, and, you know, on earth all over. And then we can extend this acceptance and respect to everything, you know, from soil to plants to animals to stars. You know, in this Sustainable Agriculture Expo, we had presentations, and I was talking about the rainbow kombucha is a part of permaculture and biodynamics. And, you know, we talk about their ethics of kombucha, that actually was a representation of love and respect for humans. Because if you know the permaculture ethics, it's about people care, earth care, and fair share, right? So I would like to invite you to think of your nutrition in the same way, that it's about health, right? But it's also about not polluting the earth and supporting the regeneration of the earth, and also to share their knowledge, to share food, to share good feelings, you know, of health and happiness. So we will have this abundance of vitality for all of us. All right, so this is pretty much everything I wanted to talk about as the universal principles of vitality nutrition. And I am ready for questions. Let me stop sharing the screen. And okay. So please make comments, questions, ideas, and we will decide on what to do during the next week. And you know, we will need volunteers also for moderation, right? Who will be the facilitators for their nutritional Sunday from the group.
Okay, thank you so much, Olga. This is so many information. So I want to drop one quick question, which is I saw on the slide that alcohol is anti-nutrient, but isn't like why alcohol, beer is also fermented food? Isn't it good? So
yeah.
so yeah.
When it comes to alcohol, you need to remember that big arrow: food, medicine, poison. So why you become like, yoo-hoo, you know, become like drunk? What happens? Do you know? No?
I have no
Okay,
idea.
so what happens is you poison your liver and your brain, so they behave funny. So your brain cannot be in control, and sometimes people like it because you know, then they can socialize easier and, you know, speak foreign languages better and dance better, whatever. But it's because you actually poisoned your brain and your liver. And if you drink to the point where you don't have all these effects, and you're drinking wine that was produced biodynamically and with zero sulfites added. Why I say added, because sulfates is something that is naturally occurring in the grapes and in other foods and stuff, right? So our body and our livers react differently to the added isolated chemicals, and there are chemicals that are part of the original matrix of the food. So added things is not the same as original. So if you have all this organic, natural, biodynamic wine or naturally brewed beer that didn't use any sugars and any preservatives, by the way, pretty much all commercial beers work as xenoestrogens. They turn men into like less men, and you start to grow belly and boobs because it has all this preservatives and not nice things. But if you have a friend who is artisanal, the crazy craft beer enthusiast, and this is the beer that will go bad after a few days, that can be a great fermented superfood, unless you get to the dose of poison and you have like yoo-hoo and effect, right? So it's about the quality and quantity. But all these cocktails that have all these horrible sugary syrups based on genetically modified corn and all this artificial colors, so all the things that are used in mixers and stuff usually are very bad for your vitality. So if you drink alcohol, try to go with organic, biodynamic, and no crap added.
Okay, thank you. So if anyone have question, please raise your voice.
Okay, so if you don't have questions, how about initiatives? Because we need to have a homework for this week. So my invitation for you, if you remember from the presentation, is to observe yourself and to understand what makes you feel better or worse, and try to look through their slides again and find some principles that really speak to you and try to implement and see how you feel while you're implementing that. And also I hope that our hosts, the people who will facilitate the next Sunday will have some assignments for people to do.
So before we jump to the assignment, so drop a quick question, not quick, but so as you know, my father got a heart attack last week. So I want to, can you, I look at some of the article you gave me, but like, can you give a short brief, like explain under what condition a person have a heart attack, and is there any like special nutritional diet for cardiovascular patient?
Yeah. So usually the big part of the reasons why people have heart attacks is inflammation and some deficiencies. So one of the most inflammatory foods are fried foods, sugary foods, refined foods, and foods full of chemicals. So when you eliminate the inflammatory foods and substitute, so you eat more anti-inflammatory foods with high quality fat, with high quality nutrients that were not isolated and they were properly prepared and using traditional methods, they were not browned, right? So we're kind of eliminate the white diet, all the refined stuff, the heavily processed stuff, and we eliminate their beige diet, all their the brown crust on their bread and their brown chicken and brown French fries. So all the beige foods are highly inflammatory. They have so-called age, the advanced glycation end product. So it actually ages you and ages your arteries. And it's not good for anybody, but especially people who have heart problems. And there are a lot of nutrients. If you remember, I hope you got a lot of information from the links. So you will need to eat more foods that help the flow, like high quality omega-3s. For example, the cod liver oil that is rich in vitamin D and vitamin E and vitamin A. So these are wonderful anti-inflammatory foods that assist the flow and make it easier for the heart. And of course, there are a lot of others, the chlorophyll drinks, and there, like, I don't want to go through all of them. And there are some supplements that make it easier to generate energy in all the muscles, and especially the heart muscles, like L-carnitine and CoQ10 and the D-ribose sugar. And so there are several supplements that are very, very helpful for anybody, but especially, people who either have heart disease or, recovering from a heart attack. So, and of course, hydration and sleep are important for anybody, and especially, recovering. So these are the pillars, have exposure to the sun so that you get the direct spectrum nutrients and can produce vitamin D that is usually depleted, have a lot of vitamin C, have a lot of high quality hydration, which is spring water, or drinking fresh juices, or eating foods that are water rich, and also eating foods that create the sponge effect, like their chia puddings that will keep the hydration longer in the body. And the micro movements, even though I don't think that it's good time for him to run a marathon, any kind of movement, just twisting around, and anything that is a movement is very, very helpful for recovery and for hydration. Yeah. So of course, nutrition is not everything, but it's a big part of the recovery, and then plus. So I don't want to go through all of the things that you already read, but just kind of as a summary. Right? And by the way, one of the presentations that we can do together is, I call it cholesterol myth. And it's half about cholesterol and half about the real healthcare for the heart and cardiovascular system. So in that presentation, we can cover all these obsolete ideas. Oh, eggs are bad for you, or butter is bad for you, or oh, you shouldn't eat cholesterol. So there are a lot of really silly things that people keep repeating with no reason, that like not scientific, not historical. There are no reasons at all. So we will get rid of those, and we will remind ourselves how people were taking care of themselves in the past, and what the latest research says, like how you can create their healthy body and healthy heart. So that can be also, part of our course if it's something interesting for you guys.
Right. Thank you for your Olga. So yeah, but I tried to read, but I had to say that changing people's minds is the hardest thing on the earth. Like changing people's habit and the mind is pretty difficult for me. Yeah, but I will try. So do you have any experience like dealing with patients that get used to processed food? Like do you have any tip on changing people's mind?
Yeah, this is my big passion, as you already know, that I believe it's all about awareness. what kind of choices you make, it's up to you. But if you're curious, I would like to add to the awareness. You know, I am also very curious and very open, and I am like now in this fair, I'm like a hungry baby. I want this, I want that. You know, I'm listening to this guy who is talking about the 4-element farming, that you can put more trees close together if this is a water element tree together with air element tree and fire. You can put 3 times more trees on your land and have less input because they help. It's like, wow, so interesting. And then somebody else
I
is
saw it on your
you know, all these ideas. I love that. So when people are curious, I love to share also. And when you are aware and you make choices, kind of understanding the consequences, then the rest is, you know, up to you, what you want to do.
All right. So that's it. I have no question, and I leave it to everyone.
Okay. So what about the volunteers for the next time? Do we have volunteers? You volunteer her? Okay. Okay, now you're volunteered. Okay, wonderful. So then you can get together and decide what kind of assignments to post for the group. And from my side, I will support you, and I will put in the resources, this recording and the slides, and, you know, maybe some links. So yeah, let's observe what is happening this week nutritionally with us. And please post which of their vitality habits you tried, you know, which of their things that you think worked for you and why. Okay, I guess on that note we can say bye-byes and see you next Sunday. I'm looking forward to listening to you next time.
Thank you very much.
Wait, before you leave, how your experience at the permaculture exhibition? How is it? How your
It's really interesting. You know, unfortunately, I don't speak Thai, so I'm very limited. And, you know, I can get information only either something that I can touch and see, or when I am with the friends who can translate for me. But I managed to learn quite a lot because there were a lot of kind Thais who speak English. And you know, a lot of people came to the kombucha class, which was a surprise for me. You know, Michael said that, oh, they might invite you again to this museum, because, you know, it looks like they came with a camera crew, like shooting this, and, you know, so it was a good experience, and people got SCOBY back home and they were excited to that. So yeah, it was a wonderful exchange, good energy, you know.
Yeah.
And
a
lot of products that you cannot order online because they are very small producers, and so it was all personal connection. Like, for example, there was a honey from a group of people who don't even speak Thai. You know, they're from the south, and they have this kind of Australar Indonesian heritage that you know, they were kind of a discriminated minority group, and they live in the forest. So they have this very special giant bee honey that is, you know, apparently has amazing healing property. And you cannot find it anywhere, only in a fair like this. You know, they came, and these people cannot even speak Thai, you know, properly. It's kind of, you know, all these amazing findings. Yeah. Plus hanging out with friends, because there were friends from Wanakaset, you know, from Molbanban, like from all these movements of self-sufficiency and sustainability. Unfortunately, not all of them, I don't know why, but, you know, at least as visitors. And so not all of them had booths, but, you know, just saw some of them just hanging out as friends. So yeah, amazing experience. And after this call, I'm going back there. So it's the last day we will be like eating all their things that are not eaten. You know, we'll finish up our rainbow kombucha that still left. So yeah, we'll go and finish it up.
Yeah, that's why I'm very jealous with Thai friend, you know. I'm very jealous with Thai friend. You have a lot of interesting activities.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so
Right.
goodbye one more time. See you. Bye bye, guys.
Thank you very much again.
Bye
Most
bye.
welcome.
See you.